You're. Welcome to another episode of the So-Called Oreos podcast. I am Janae Price.
I am Kia Swin.
Amari Pollard.
I'm Rachel Fowler.
Yay. So we just want to jump in. Sorry, guys. I'm delirious. We're recording in like a hot studio. My back hurts. So I'm going through it right now.
I will say that I'm just going to say I apologize if the audio isn't up to par or if it's switching. We're still figuring out some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to edit it the best I can. But, you know, we're getting there.
Guys,
so
work with us.
Be patient.
We're starting
we'll
from the bottom, but we're going to get to the top.
We're going to get there.
Yeah.
As Drake said. There. Okay, let's get right into it. This week in Black History, July 20th, 1967, more than 1,000 people attended the first Black Power Conference in Newark, New Jersey.
Power to the people.
The conference was a 3-day gathering in the summer of 1967 that focused on the oppression of African Americans and the possible solutions to obtain a better quality of life. I thought that was cool. I was like, I never even heard of the Black Power Conference. Not sure if it still goes on, but thought it was pretty cool in the 60s, yeah. And it was in Jersey, my home state. Okay. July 17th, 1794, the African, oh my God.
Episcopal.
Thank you. Church of St. Thomas was founded in Philadelphia as the first Black
Episcopal
church in the U.S. Its congregation developed from the Free African Society, a non-denominational group formed by Blacks who had left St. George's Methodist Church because of discrimination.
Now y'all know that my mom is a pastor of an African Methodist Episcopal Zion church.
And it's in Ithaca.
The
most white place in...
And it's a very historic church. It is home to Alpha Phi Alpha.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
It's actually a pretty cool setup. I went there for was it the Christmas service?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And we have a Lincoln letter too.
Okay.
Cool.
That's
St.
so funny
James.
you said that because in my hometown, my grandma recently found a Black church. I've been living in this hometown for like 15 years and I have never heard or seen about the church. And it's like a historical, like African Methodist church, I think. And my grandma told me, and honestly, I was so rude because I was like, Grandma, that don't exist. But she was right. And we went with her and I was like, how did you find this? But yeah, I thought that was interesting. And it's crazy how I just saw the part about discrimination. I was like, isn't that wild? Like church discrimination, even though it still happens today, but it's still just wild to hear discrimination in church in the same sentence. Stay woke. That's another topic. On to Amari.
Yes. Okay. So Black professionals were admiring. This happened a minute ago, but I think we should all be posing in celebration of Janet Mock.
Oh, I like what you did that.
Get it? Pose. And
She's the director of Pose, y'all. Get it.
Wow.
Amari
Pose is fantastic, by the way.
I've been following Janet for a while now, and I just think the trajectory of her career and personal journey has just been amazing. So yeah, she recently made a multi-million-dollar deal, 3-year multi-million-dollar deal with Netflix, and that makes her the first openly transgender woman to have creative control at a major content company. Yes,
Nice.
And a woman of color.
Happy Pride!
Yes, and she says she's seeking to highlight historically underrepresented communities often ignored by Hollywood and employ the people that belong to them. So yes, you get a job, and you get a job.
Get me a job, Jan.
Yes, please. Yeah, so she's like currently working on some stuff in development. She says it's hush hush, but so far what we know is there's going to be a half-hour drama about post-slavery New Orleans, a college drama chronicling the life of a young trans woman, and a classic sitcom reboot. I really, really want it to be Living Single,
Or Girlfriends.
but with a twist.
I think it would be something with transgender rights.
But it's a classic.
Oh,
It's a reboot.
Is there like a classic reboot,
I don't know.
transgender focused sitcom?
with black people.
It could be living single, but all the women
Or it could be a
are
different
transgender
world
women.
with
Or different
trans-
worlds. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
people.
interesting. Yeah, I'm excited to see.
There are so many options. Whatever it is,
There
it's
are.
immediately going into my watch.
Yeah,
Not
these
even my
sound
watch
good.
list. I will just watch it immediately.
Obama had a deal with Netflix, didn't he?
Yeah,
I think it's Obama and Michelle.
What they be
do.
doing? I'm trying
They're
to.
working on it.
Think they're
They employ
producing?
someone?
It's process. It's process.
Help me out. Help me out.
How about us?
Yes, but Janet just yes.
No, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really. I was really excited when I saw that.
Yeah, I like kind of flipped out and was like, I just want to be in your presence because she actually started in magazines. She worked, I think she was at People for like 5 years and then was a guest editor at Elle, and then she kind of transitioned out of that. And
Jeez, I want that life.
right, I just like, tell me how. And like, you can do that. And then I was also just thinking, but it kind of made me sad though too, because her story is just like so extraordinary, and she's just gone through a lot, and just her whole journey. It's amazing. And I'm just like, I'm just ordinary. I don't have anything like special to contribute. But I'm glad to see her star rising.
You're contributing to this podcast.
Yeah.
Which is very important and not, I was going to say not original. That was not the word. Sorry, not basic. It is original.
Yeah,
I think that's what it's late.
True,
Now,
it's not
whatever.
basic and it's hot. But going into this week's topic, we're gonna talk about body image, and there is just
So much to
so
unpack.
much to unpack.
So much.
Where do we
Layers.
begin?
Try the layers.
Where do you begin? I know I've been talking for a bit, but can I tell you all a story?
Yeah.
Tell us a story.
Okay, this is gonna make me upset. Let's just get into it. So I never really had an issue with my body. I was pretty confident for the chunkiness that was on me when I was a little girl. And then I hit elementary school, and there was this one rumor, we're in 5th grade, and a rumor started going around that I was pregnant. In
What?
5th
Fifth
grade.
grade?
In fifth- these kids are trifling. In 5th grade, and my best friend at the time, the same one who later told me my hair looked like a homeless person. So from we were 10, I should have known that we were not friends.
Should have cut her off, man.
Should have cut her off. So that she saw me take the pregnancy test on the bus.
On the bus.
On the
Wait,
bus.
This girl's
Wait,
dumb.
she said that.
She said that, and I caught her and my other best friend, again messed up, talking and whispering about it and laughing at me and looking at me. And I asked someone, and they were like, "Oh yeah, there's a rumor going on, you're pregnant." Mind you, I was 10, so this now as an adult goes back to how over sexualized Black girls' bodies are from a young age. I think it usually starts around 8 years old. I was not even. Everyone knows I was a prude until I was like 18. So to have this going on, and I think that was when I thought like, oh, the reason they think I'm pregnant is because I'm fat. And it was funny too, because my 5th grade teacher pulled me aside and told me I was the one bullying people.
What?
And that I was, I think she called me evil.
What?
I think she called me evil.
Wait, how did she get that from this
She
story?
said she pulled me aside and told me I was bullying other people. And you know, I'm not gonna act like I was perfect. I probably said some really messed up things to kids around that time. I can't remember what it was, but it was specifically around that time when it was several people calling me out and I was being called the bully. I just thought that was funny.
Oh, this gets into the importance of teachers, which will be another episode, but my God.
Yeah. So that's when I thought I was fat.
So
And
how did you squash the rumor? Now
I
I'm
didn't.
invested.
I got my mom, and my mom cussed out. I don't think she cussed out the teacher, but she had some words with her. And then I think that was probably like when I was just very aware of my body. I started wearing bigger clothes because I didn't want people to be able to see like the shape of my stomach. And I just got really concerned with that. And then I think when I hit like 8th grade, I started really getting into lacrosse was when I lost weight. And then kind of like stumbled into some like eating issues too. So it was just like a nice,
That's wild.
nice trajectory.
Janae, I know you have. No, I know you have a lot to talk about, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let you go right into that.
I would say my issue started, and actually I've never talked about this part of like body image issues starting.
So-called Oreos exclusive.
You're stupid. But growing up, me and my brother were both very skinny. We were skinny kids, tall but skinny. And then I want to say probably around like 5th grade-ish is when, no, before that, 4th grade was when I shot up. For those of you who do not know, I'm a very tall lady. I'm 6 foot tall. I remember being very proud of being 4'11" in 4th grade. And then I went through this weird phase of wearing really tight clothes. And people would make fun of me because I started getting chunky. Like people in my family would like pick at me and stuff like that because I was like wearing skin tight clothes. I don't know why, but there's this brand that had like a monkey on it. And it was like Kmart or JCPenney or something like that.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? And I'd always wear it and it was just like very tight. And I was very, that's when I started to notice that I was bigger. And from there, I wouldn't say that I was getting bigger and bigger. I just was taller and also larger. So I was bigger than all of the kids in my class. And for me, that just always made me feel the only way I can, like, the only thing I could compare it to is feeling like Shrek, I guess. And I remember by the time I got to junior high, I totally felt very destructive about myself. I had a hard time looking in the mirror. I was just very uncomfortable with myself. And that also had to do with my blackness because I just felt like I was big and black. You know, in junior high, I was probably around 5'8", 5'9", something like that. So I was just significantly bigger than all of the kids I went to school with. And I just felt ugly. That's all. My hair wasn't right. I wore glasses. I was black. I was bigger than everyone else. I just literally felt like Shrek. It's the only thing I can compare it to. So that was my feelings when I was younger. And then growing up, I've definitely, I would actually attribute me growing to like my body a little bit more to social media and stuff. I started following like fashion bloggers that were bigger to try to figure out how to dress for my size. And I eventually kind of grew to just be like, well, this is who I am. Therefore,
great.
That's good.
This is who I am. I'm my saying that I always say in my head, which makes absolutely no sense, but you is what you is when you is what you is.
I love it.
That's what when I look in the mirror and I'm ever like unhappy with myself, I'm like, well, you is what you is when you is what you is.
That's so nice that you said like you're gonna kind of like decide your social media, and I think that's really important because I think a lot of people wouldn't do that of like follow people that look like you, and I think that's the issue where a lot of people compare themselves on social media because it's like you're following people that aren't like you or not of your like culture and stuff. Not saying you should only follow people that look like you in your culture, but like yeah, you would like to see people that look like you, and that's gonna be in your mind that, oh, this is normal. Like this is what I look like.
One last thing for me, like the body positivity movement helped me out a lot because I stumbled upon, I think the first blogger I found was Tess Munster. She had F Your Beauty Standards. So I found that hashtag. And from there, it just led to like a rabbit hole of all of these fat positive bloggers. And this was like before body positive like really, really popped off. And it was just a whole bunch of these bigger women posting pictures of themselves in bikinis, half naked, in their underwear, wearing, you know, crop tops and stuff like that. And I just kind of like fell into this rabbit hole and just started following larger women of color.
Going off of that, Shrill has an episode
I love Shrill.
where there's a pool party. It's an event and it's all plus size women and they're in their bikinis, they're laughing, they're just like comfortable in themselves. And the main character, she didn't like wear a bathing suit because she's like, it's a pool party, I don't want to wear a bathing suit. And she felt comfortable just to take all her clothes off and jump in the pool and swim. So I think that episode is really important because we don't see bigger women on TV like celebrating their body and being happy with the way they are. So if you haven't seen Shrill, like
watch it.
It's
Wait, is that a
really,
movie? I think
it's a really good show.
Is it with the girl from SNL?
Yes, I forgot her name, but
Amy Bryant.
Amy Bryant, yes.
80.
Yeah. AIDY.
Yeah.
Okay. I've only seen that clip. I know what you're talking about, but I didn't know where it was from.
I mean, I'm not even like I'm not even of that body shape or of that
I was happy when I saw that episode.
I felt seen in that whole series because the way she approached her relationship with men, the way she felt about her body.
It was very realistic.
Her career. Very realistic.
Yeah, very realistic. And also just like, I had to pause at certain points. I'm like, this was hitting too close to
that
home.
abortion scene.
Yeah.
That was, it's a really good show.
Yeah. Definitely. Kia, did you want to talk about your body
I guess
experience?
I will. Get right into it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I think body image, again, in the so-called Oreos aspect, I was doing research and looking at other people's experiences, like Black women's studies with body image and stuff. And I think when we think about the stereotypical, what people have perceived as Black women bodies, we think of a big chest, a tiny waist, a big booty, someone with hips, da da da. And I read how like a lot of that is from like, you know, hip hop culture and like video vixens, because that's what we see in like the hip hop videos, and that's predominantly African American culture and stuff like that. So it's always like we see like Black men loving the like bigger bodies or whatever, which is fine. But a lot of those people are not real. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think if it's not real, we just have to be open about that stuff. And not giving like this notion that like, oh, this is real when it's not. Hint, Kim Kardashian, but you know, that's another story. Anyway, so that's like what we think is stereotypical Black women. And so obviously if you know me, I am not any of those things. I'm like 5'3", really petite and tiny. And especially in high school, like I didn't have any hips, was an A cup, didn't have any butt, didn't have any of that. So I just felt like I was not the typical Black girl. And that kind of like led into the whole like being like an Oreo of not feeling like Black enough, or like my body was not a stereotypical Black woman. And so that was a little difficult because it's like I don't fit in with my culture because I don't look like. And if I saw like white people with like bigger butts than mine, I'm like, whoa, something's wrong with me, whatever, you know, something like that. But it wasn't until like I would say like recently, and also like a lot of people, like I did do sports in high school, and I think like, I don't know if people meant to say things, but like coaches would like comment on my body, be like, you need to get stronger, like, or like make it my fault. They'd be like, oh, you wouldn't get playing time because you're not big enough, or like whatever. And it's like, I'm not gonna be bigger. I'm not gonna eat a bunch of garbage to be bigger, you know, I'm not gonna do all that. So like, I think a lot of it was like coaches too, like being like, oh, well, you're just not, you're too small to do whatever. And so like from then I would always just like make it a point to do something that like was challenging. So like in basketball, I would have like the most blocks, even though I was like really tiny. I would find a way to like block the most balls, whatever. Or like in track, I would do throwing, and I was like 10 feet away from breaking.
You threw?
I threw.
Really?
I was the top thrower in my high school. Okay.
Oh my God.
Discus. I placed every meet.
Did you throw shot put too?
I did throw shot until senior year. I was like, bruh, actually, I'm too small to throw this. But I did place in shot.
I'm looking at you right now trying to figure out
I did. Yeah, I was always like, I'm going to challenge myself. So I did throw, and it was always like, I always was like, how am I going to do this? And so it was mostly
it's
like
not about
technique.
strength, it's about speed. And
yeah,
technique.
so I would be the one practicing every night after track practice. I would go home. I would practice in my my basement, and I would beat girls like twice my size. And I was just like, I'm gonna do it because everyone comments on my body like I'm petty. I'm gonna be like, okay, watch this. And then with volleyball, like that was the thing that was to my advantage because I was libero, which is like usually the smallest player
in the middle.
Yeah, and you're the best passer stuff. So I would still block people in volleyball and stuff like that. So it was just like how like high school kind of like affects that kind of notion. And then it wasn't until after college where I was like, okay, I'm gonna get into Pilates and stuff like that, and that I started like appreciating my body more. And I guess like also seeing people that were Black and had similar body types to mine, probably just social media too, like you said, being like, okay, not every Black person has like a huge butt or like a huge chest or like a Nicki Minaj body, you know?
But like also even with, you know, people associating it with like video vixens and stuff, it wasn't until recently where we're all like, oh yes, big boobs and like a curvy waist and like a big butt is appreciated. Like when I was growing up, even Black girls were all like, we don't want that. Like we wanted to get as close to like small as we could. So again, I think it's like kind of similar to the hair thing. We're kind of going through this transformational period where we're kind of just accepting what we were given.
For sure. And I look at my body, I'm like, wow, I have like really nice arms. Like they look toned. Like I always like work on just toning and like
Michelle Obama helped everyone with their arms.
Yeah. And it's like, I look at pictures, I'm like, oh wow, that's something that like probably other people wouldn't have. Or like, I just look at myself and be like, say in the mirror, like, oh, oh, wow, this is really nice on you, whatever. And then also, like, I was doing a little research because I was always like, oh, why don't I have abs? Or, like, why don't I look like the girls on Instagram with abs and the perfect swimming bodies? And then I was doing a lot of research about how a lot of those people are, like, sucking stuff in and doing all these tricks to look that way. And that made me feel better because I'm like,
Angles, girl.
yeah, angles. And I was, because I didn't know. I don't know much about Instagram.
As a chubby chick, I knew, man.
And I was like, how are these girls looking like this, whatever? And then I just realized, like, oh, they're all doing, like, the same pose, a little knee up, whatever.
The butt's, like, curved to the side.
Curved to the side.
Your butt is not that big.
And I was like, oh, that makes me feel better because now I know if I do that same thing, I would look just like you.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of just, like, telling yourself, like, if I wanted to do that, I could, but I'm not going to. Like, if I wanted to pay for a larger butt, I could also look like Kim Kardashian, you know, stuff like that.
Or even, like, Nicki Minaj, you know. That's
Exactly. So it's kind of just, like, now starting, like, maybe getting a little older and realizing, like, what's fake online and being like, and also helping just be like, oh, other Black people have the same body as I do. And I'm not weird for not having, like, the hugest butt or, like, ever. And also, in one of the Refining 29 videos about body image, the bigger girl was like, she was saying how she's happy with her body and also, like, she's still gonna get a guy whatever size she was. And I love that because I'm like, yeah, you're still gonna get the guy if you're big. You're still gonna get the guy if you're petite, small booty, small chest. You're still gonna get a guy. Like, guys just like you. So it's like, it don't matter.
Like people, honestly, that's
like,
it.
And it's like, yeah, that's so true. Like, if I don't have a big butt, I still get guys,
still bag
you know?
them.
You learn to work with what you got. I don't got a big butt, but I got nice cleavage.
Exactly.
Rachel, tell us your story.
Yes.
Yeah, growing up, I was very skinny, like flat chest, flat butt. And like around like 5th grade, like girls my age, they were starting to like develop breasts. Like girls had like really nice big breasts for a young age. And I'm just like, all I wanted was breasts growing up. I just wanted breasts.
I can totally relate.
And
sorry guys, that was my birth control alarm. Sorry.
You didn't have to tell them all.
Yeah, you didn't.
Well, here we are.
So yeah, and I realized that like the boys were going after the girls who had like big upper chest, big butt, and I felt like something was wrong with me. But I didn't like grow like into my body until I was like in college, and then I started calling myself fat. And then whenever I would look at pictures of myself like a year ago, I'm like, nothing was wrong with me. So ever since then, I just started accepting like who I am and like how my body looks now, you know, and comparing yourself to girls on Instagram, that's a thing. Like I do that too. And I had to unfollow some people that like had like the same pose, them in the bikini, makeup, perfect hair, perfect this, perfect that, knowing that it's not real, that they had surgical procedures. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. But why am I comparing myself to that person? So this is another like process, like this journey with like loving who you are completely from like head to toe. That's like another process, and I'm still going through it because our body is always changing. Now I'm like getting into like health and like learning to drink more water, eat my fruits and vegetables, you know, just wanting to just be healthy. No matter how I look, as long as I'm healthy, that's like the most important thing.
I think I will always have an issue with my body. Like I'm still like I love it and stuff, but I think no matter how old I get, I'm always gonna have these issues.
You'll still find something.
Like I'm still gonna find something, or like I'm gonna see old habits like creep back up. Like in high school, I would skip meals and I would come home and I would binge eat.
Same.
Really?
I would do the same thing. People would always comment, Amari, like, why are you just eating a cookie during lunch? I'm like, I'm not hungry.
Really?
I was hungry as fuck. Really? But I liked the way my empty stomach felt. Like if my stomach was empty, that meant I was skinny, like to me. So I just like wouldn't eat a lot. And I think it actually messed up with my eating now because I can only eat in like small, like I get full so easily. And I honestly think I like shrunk my stomach. Like I'm convinced I shrunk my stomach. And like I will notice these patterns come back up when I talk to guys. Like I'll notice myself eating like a little bit less, or, like taking like a little bit account. So I like myself better when I'm not talking to guys because I feel like I'm not as conscious of my body or whatever. But like that, like it's I'm not saying, I don't think it was like a full-blown eating disorder, but it was unhealthy eating habits. Yeah. And I feel like the only reason why I never stepped over and became bulimic was because I could maybe put a toothbrush in my throat, but I could never like do the act because I knew there was something wrong with that. Like I could never push myself to that. But had I been able to do it, I probably would have done it. So it's like trying to unlearn all of these things and people commenting on your body. I just remember when I was like 16, we had a Christmas party and one of my neighbors, he's like, "You're looking really good. We were worried about you for a second there, but you got skinny."
Wow.
And like that, you don't like that stuff just like sticks with you, and it's like just people always commenting on your body, and I feel like that's why I started wearing bigger clothes, and like now I like medium to large, so like you can't really, unless I'm going out, I'll wear something. I tend to wear something tighter when I go out, but like on a day to day, I like wearing larger things.
I think that's so vital because I'm so sick. This is a society thing, and I don't know. I can speak on like my family and culture, but I just think people need to stop commenting on people's bodies. I just don't understand how that is normal or okay. Like it just baffles me when people say the wildest stuff. It's like, if I don't ask you to comment on my body, don't comment on my body. Mm-hmm. I just think that's crazy. And I think a lot of, especially like older men I see, when a famous actress goes on TV, they're always like, "She looks good, she looks bad." And I'm always just like, shut up. Like, who cares? Like, and y'all never comment on the dude, the guy actor that's on. Y'all never comment on their body, but always girls like, "She looks bad, she looks good," whatever. And it's just like, it boils my blood. That's another thing I always think about when raising children. And if anyone comments on my children's body, like, I probably will fight you or get my husband to fight you.
It also comes from family sometimes.
It does.
It is.
I think it is a cultural thing.
Like, if the family comes over and you comment on someone's body, get out my house. Yeah. That's just how it's going to be. But because I just think people need to stop. Mm-hmm. Like,
honestly, for me, a gauge of like how I'm doing, and maybe this is an unhealthy behavior, but it's always like when I go back home and I'm always like, "Guys, have I gained weight? Have I lost weight?"
Oh, you ask?
Yeah. Like,
at least you
I
ask,
always ask. I ask her, like, my mom might tell me, but I'm always like, have I gained any weight?
Do you ask because you know they'll comment on them, so you try to like
do it before
they comment?
No,
okay.
I ask because I know that my family are like the only honest, good gauge. Like, they haven't seen me in a while. I know that my family is the type that like they love me so much that it can be slightly suffocating, where it's kind of like, no one asked you to tell me if I'm doing this right or wrong, just let me do it. Mm-hmm. So I know that my family, they always have my best interest at heart, and if I honestly ask them, have I chunked up, they're gonna say, yeah, you chunked up a little bit. Unlike sometimes when you talk about it with friends, and they'll be like, you're great, you're fine, it's great, it's fantastic. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, I honestly want to know if I got fatter or not.
I mean, I guess there's like certain things with that. It's like, you can tell me whether I got bigger or not. I actually don't like people commenting on my body at all. I really hate it.
I don't like strangers doing it.
I don't even like my family doing it.
I don't like when anyone does it.
I don't like it.
I only get it from family.
I don't like it because it's also like, I can still get bigger and be healthy. My body is changing. I'm also not as active as I was in college. So like, my body's going to change.
And you're pretty small too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty small. But I think also because I'm smaller, people tend to notice more weight on my body quicker. Yeah. And it's also like, okay, I got bigger. Who cares?
People say that to me too, and it's like, yeah, I got bigger since high school because I was a solid 100 pounds, and like, obviously I got bigger. You psychos! I just think that's annoying, like, because people will say that to me, and it's like, and now I kind of not take it so personal because I'm like, okay, in their defense, like, I am working out, I am working to tone, and I did say I want to gain muscle, so I usually like kind of flip it to be like, they're basically saying you got toner and you have more muscle, but I'm like, yeah, obviously I'm going to get bigger. That's what people do. That's what bodies do. Women, your body fluctuates, your weight fluctuates a lot. But I just think I agree with Amari. Like, even if it's family, like, I'd rather you not comment unless it's really positive, honestly. Be like, it looks like you got stronger. That's nicer than saying, like, looks like you got bigger. Because that sounds very negative.
Or like, are you getting fat?
Yeah, it's like, just be like, you look like you gained more muscle or got stronger or whatever. I'd rather that than, I mean, again, I'd rather you not comment on my body because people are like, I thought you gained weight, you look skinnier. It's always just like, I'm never going to please you guys. Never. At the end of the day, I like how I look. I really don't give an F about how anyone else thinks about me. If you're dating me, if your mom or my daddy, I really don't care. Because at the end of the day, I like how I look, and I got to look at myself. So, like, that's how I see it. But, like, I really just think I just don't know how it became, like, a social norm to comment on people's body.
Yeah.
Especially when not asked for.
Constantly get stuff from strangers. Constantly.
So
like,
rude,
the combination of being a 6 foot tall person who has meat on their bones is an absolute enigma. few months ago, I was in an Uber. My dad was visiting, and I called an Uber from his hotel, and I get in the Uber, and the guy is basically like, oh, I see. He had like a really thick African accent. So he was like, oh, that's your dad, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, it is. And he's like, he's a big man. You're a big woman. And it's like, I just constantly like list upon list of all the time people have pointed out, you're a big woman. You're
you
large.
should be like, geez,
you're big.
I
it's
didn't
like,
know.
I haven't looked at myself.
I wasn't aware that I'm the size of your average man, actually a little bit bigger. Like I didn't know that. I haven't lived in my own body for 25 years.
Right.
Like, it's a constant thing. I think I internalize it a little bit less because I'm more comfortable with myself, but it used to hurt so much every time someone would be like, you're just big. You're just so big for a woman. And
That's
it's like
that would hurt. Like it hurts. And I don't see how people would say that and be like,
that's
and feel okay with
better.
themselves. Yeah.
And I think that's why I likened myself to Shrek when I was younger, because I didn't see any femininity, if I'm saying that correctly, in my size, because it's like women are historically petite. Women are historically smaller than men. And to be the size of your average male, it felt like a contradiction of everything that I was supposed to be. It felt like you're not supposed to be a woman, you're supposed to be a man. So for me, that took, and I still deal with this today, like a lot, where it's like sometimes I don't feel feminine. Sometimes I feel like I have to, just like you said, you wear looser clothes. I'm like, I feel like I have to wear tighter clothes. I have to show some type of midriff, or I'm going to look like a large, shapeless man. And I'm sure you guys have hung out with me a lot in the past. I'm sure I've probably said tons of things that had to deal with like, I'm not petite. Oh, like, ooh, a tall man makes me feel petite, you know? So it's a journey.
Yeah, it really is. I'm curious to hear about your experiences also with being naked in your body, because I used to run past the mirror when I would get into the shower because I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror naked, and I didn't like to be naked. I just wasn't comfortable enough to be in that. I'm still like, I like being naked right now. Like I'm at that point where, and I think some days I also have to force myself to just be naked, and feel comfortable fully in like my body. I'm just wondering how you guys have been with that.
I never, when thinking about it now, like growing up, I never like examined my body naked, you know, and until like a couple of years ago, because like, you know, you start to get breast and like your butt and your body's changing, and yeah, I never like thought about it. It was not something that was talked about, not something that I did.
Yeah, I used to call my mom a nudist because she seemed so comfortable in her body, but I think that was me just being upset that she could be so comfortable and I could never reach that. And now I'm like, maybe I'm a nudist too.
I actually don't have a mirror in my apartment, so now I think about it.
At all?
You need to do that.
In your bathroom?
I don't. I have like a.
Oh, you don't have a full length mirror.
I don't have a full length mirror, so I don't ever see myself.
Full length mirrors do a lot. They make you realize like, oh, I'm not what I thought I was.
My roommate has one, so I'll like jump in her room and be like, I'm using your mirror, but I don't do it every day. I think that kind of helps, but I'll look at my body from like, just look down and be like, oh, that's what I look like. But I do, and growing up in my parents' house, my whole closet was a miror. So I have the massive mirror. Yeah, I had it. And everyone would come in my room to check themselves out because I was the only one with that massive mirror. But I'm trying to think, like, I guess I don't really have memories of like comparing myself in the mirror, but now if I do, I always make a conscious effort to be like, always say positive things about what you like about your body. So it's always like, wow, like your arms look really great today, or this like outfit looks really good on you, or whatever. And I always just make a conscious effort of being like, just always feel things that you really enjoy, which I think really helps and goes a long way. Yeah.
My body image, I started to see myself in a more positive light when I started doing track, and I was also throwing shot put and discus.
Hey.
And I just felt strong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I just felt like my body is capable of so much, and that's when I started getting confidence and liking my body, and I'd be like walking around my house in short shorts and like a tank top because I was feeling myself.
Yeah.
I had like a little
And you
body.
probably had medals and stuff.
Yeah. Like I was like, oh wow. But I would say that for me was the point where I started like looking at myself. And then it was weird because around the end of college is when my body did this weird, I got more curvy at the end of college. It was really, really weird. But then I was like really feeling myself like, wow, she looks good naked. And now I'm at the point where like I like to just lay with myself out in my apartment. I'm very comfortable in the nude when I'm by myself, not when I'm with like others, but in the nude, it's my thing. But I still do try like to say positive things when I catch myself maybe poking at myself and being like, your stomach is...
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They say it's important to speak to yourself kindly. Not gonna lie, there's some days where I'm just like, you're ugly. Your stomach's pouting out.
don't
Like
do
this is
that.
why you can't do anything.
Should we speak to
I
ourselves
have those
positively?
days too. I think we should.
Catch yourself off.
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
now.
let's-
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we? Amari.
Yeah.
Today is
we
not a day for me. Today's the day I'd be like,
No, we should, now that you brought it
Your
up.
fat is overspilling.
Who wants to start today?
Okay, I'll start. Janae. Let me be serious. Maybe we can simplify it by saying the stuff that we really like about ourselves.
No, I
Physically?
like body image. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is actually, I'm in the spotlight.
You did this to yourself.
I know, I
You
did this
want
to
me
myself.
start?
I did. No, I got it.
Okay.
I got it. I love my curves. And I know that kind of sounds like a cliche thing because everyone says that, but I have this nice waist that I really, really,
Wait.
really.
See, everyone
What?
loves your curves. Not everyone got curves, yo.
No, I was saying like everyone says they love their curves.
Oh, okay.
Like
okay.
on social
Everyone, like,
media
who
and
has
stuff like
one.
that. Yeah,
Who
everyone's
have
like,
curves.
I love my curves. But no, I really love my curves. And it's taken me a really, really long time to get to this point of looking in the mirror and looking at myself and being like, damn, she's fine. You know, like I couldn't do that. Like I told you guys before, I could not look in the mirror at myself when I was in like 8th and 9th grade. And now I'm to the point where, you know, my best friend is a photographer who's constantly taking photos of me. And I like what I see. You know, I look at myself and I'm like, how could someone not love this,
Hey, I
want
love
this,
this.
look at this and be like, ooh, she is fine, you know?
I love
So
this.
I'm so proud of myself because I've gone from hating what I saw to loving what I saw. And mind you, I still have work to do. I still have a lot of days where I don't feel good enough. But most days, I love what I see and I cannot wait until I get to a point where I'm like, every day, I love what I see.
That's great. I
So
love that.
that's it.
I guess I'll go next. Yeah, it's funny you said about photography because when I was not working and I was like, what do I always want to accomplish? I was like, photography and modeling. So then I started doing some of that, which my photographer just canceled on my shoot this week, so I'm a little annoyed. But I started being like, you know, I'm not going to have this body forever, so I should take more pictures because I'm like, I never take pictures. To be a little vain, I'm a little vain, but I'm like, I'm not going to have this body forever. I should take more pictures and like appreciate more. So I started doing that and I was like, okay, I like what I see. But if I had to say things to myself, it'd be like, I wish I could tell my younger self that, like, your body is great and it's going to be even greater when you're older. Because now I feel like I'm really confident in my body and, like, I'm always just like, whatever you see that doesn't look unattainable, it usually is not on Instagram and stuff and it's fake. And if you did the same thing, you would look like that. So I guess I would like to say to myself, like, you have a very healthy body and a strong body and a toned body, which I think is more important than how it looks, because it's how you feel and how healthy you are and how strong you are. So that's what I always look to, and why I always do Pilates like every day. And it's always like, I'm always like, oh, you have really nice arms, and you have like, you don't have a big butt, but you have a nice toned butt for your size, and you look proportionate, and you have a nice chest for your size. So I'm like, that, I mean, it couldn't get better for my size. I think I'm doing the best I could possibly do, and I like what I see.
This is not the right day for me to have this. Yeah, I don't like my body this week. If I had to pick something this week that I would say I like, sorry to be a downer, I like my smile, and that's still on my body.
It's beautiful.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Don't feel pressured to pull it out if you don't feel it. Don't feel pressure, girl.
Today
Don't.
is like,
It's okay to have those days.
today is not the day, and I feel like, you know, there are days when I wake up, I'm like, man, Amari, you look good. But yeah, that's me.
Rachel.
Me, what I want to tell myself today is that I love my height.
Rachel's also a tall mommy. Ow.
I'm tall, yeah. I'm 5'11".
She's 6 foot, y'all. But anyway.
And like I've always hated my height. I was always like the tallest girl in the class, and sometimes today I still feel insecure in my height. So I just want to tell myself that I'm tall and I'm beautiful.
Love it. This is a nice segue to Rachel's segment.
All right, so I think this for mental health, this is a great topic to discuss people of color and eating disorders. And eating disorders have historically been associated with heterosexual young white females.
Say that again.
But in reality, they affect people from all demographics of all ethnicities at similar rates. People of color, especially African Americans, are significantly less likely to receive help for their eating disorders. Black teenagers are 50% more likely than white teenagers to exhibit bulimic behavior, such as binging and purging. People of color with self-acknowledged eating and weight concerns were significantly less likely than white participants to have been asked by a doctor about eating disorder symptoms, despite similar rates of eating disorder symptoms across ethnic groups. Reading this article, I was really sad, because I think eating disorders, there's a stereotype that like only white women like suffer from that.
And if you watch, like in health class, the videos that they show you mainly were around.
Yeah, they were white women. Yeah, and like when I look back, like my doctor never asked me like, "Hey, Rachel, like, do you suffer from any like eating disorders, anything like that?" I did, however. I remember I was like in the 4th grade, and I had a Black doctor, and she noticed that for my height, I was underweight, so she like prescribed me to drink like these meal,
like the nutriment.
Yeah, like I think it was Ensure. Like she recommended me drink that. So I feel like it just depends on your doctor. Like if you can find a Black doctor who actually cares about you and like diagnose exactly what's going on with you and actually wants to speak with you, and don't just brush you off just because you're a Black woman and they just assume that you're strong and like you're not going through anything. And if you are going through something, that you're strong enough to handle it. Like we're all human. And again, if you're a listener or whoever been through like has an eating disorder or suffered from an eating disorder, like this is for you. You know, like I'm sorry that no one heard you or no one saw what you were going through. But today on So-Called Oreos, we're here for you.
Amen. That's great. For my segment, I picked out a poem by Maya Angelou that I know we have probably all heard before, but I think it lines up well with body image and basically just loving yourself as a Black woman. So
Still right.
Phenomenal Woman.
Oh, Phenomenal Woman is one of... okay, say it out. Say it.
This is Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. Pretty woman, wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size, but when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman. That's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man, the fellow stands or fall down to their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing of my waist and the joy in my feet. I am a woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman. That's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say, it's the arch in my back, the sun in my smile, the ride of my breast, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman. That's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. 'Cause I'm a woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman. That's me.
Wow.
R.I.P. Maya. Really.
I forgot about that.
You were a phenomenal woman.
Seriously.
That was nice.
That's one of
That
the
was
better-
beautiful.
I needed to
one of the
hear
best
that.
films.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I was in a poetry club for a spell.
Yeah, it sounded very great.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Like, I felt like I was watching a TV show and it was like someone speaking in poetry.
I actually used to write poetry too when I was very angsty. I haven't in a while.
I did
but-
too. I published it got published in like a weird book.
Oh, that's
It
cool.
was probably like fourth grade.
I wanted to get an MFA in poetry, and then
Yeah.
I was advised against it because I wouldn't make any money.
It's true.
I
But-
mean, you could do that as a side hobby and still
Yeah,
make
you can write a
money.
book.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I've been trying to work on some shit.
You know.
Some stuff cooking.
Well, I'm hot as hell.
It's really hot. in here.
Yeah. It's time to
We
go.
My
all
face is
get
oily as hell.
I'm just sweaty.
I
honestly.
am sweating.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Thanks for listening and holding with us through these
Yeah.
episodes.
Follow us on all social media at SoCalled Oreos and email us at socalledoreos@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, share.
Hit us up.
Talk
Do
to you
it.
next, guys. Next time. Guys.
It's late, boo.
It's really late. I haven't eaten.
Yeah. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.